Hello everyone and welcome. Today we'll be taking a look at a highlight best-of-5 series of professional StarCraft 2. Map number 1 here shall be White Rabbit. We start things off with a blue Zerg in the upper right corner. It is Scarlett. In blue. What a shame. And their opponent here, the Zerg player in red, the drones of the bottom left, it is Reynor. CVZ, lads and lasses, get excited. Terrans and Protoss, I'm sure Terrans in particular probably the most upset of the bunch, but they should be happy because now the Zerg get to battle each other. Thematically speaking, lore-wise, isn't that the best case scenario for the Terrans if the Zerg start to wipe each other out? Protoss, likewise, of course, very similar thing. Zerg's really the real victims, if you ask me, of the bunch, because did you know Zerg loses 100% of ZVZ games? It really is quite the shame, I would say, quite a travesty. Sounds a little imbalanced, if you ask me. The Overlord action cam. We have the Overlord drive-by convention here. Hello. The other one does not even respond. Like, oh, okay. It's going to be like that then. Have a nice day, good sir. We'll get here, spot that hatchery. With the ZVZ, you're slightly less concerned about the hatch timing with this first one, with this Overlord. Instead, you're looking, is it a wiggling? You want to see if that hatch is doing the wiggle, because the wiggle means it's making a queen. And the queen is an important thing to see because queens are not Zerglings. Queens, of course, they much more important, much more wonderful for all of our hatchery related tasks, but most important for ZVZ, they're not Zerglings, which means you're probably not about to be attacked. Because queens, I'm sure many of you are quite familiar with this, they don't go across the map very quickly without at least some type of assistance, some type of help. Crosswalks are scary. Okay, they have to make sure that they have a little bit of help, a little bit of guidance, like Nidus Worms or Overlords, or even just creeping the crosswalk is fine. But Zerglings, on the other hand, these little things, as Lester, of course, is very familiar with it, it's a Zergling Lester, they get across the map with great ease, which means they're a lot scarier for that just sudden attack type of potential. Deviations I'm seeing in the build here, we have Reynor going for Ling Speed, I would say a more normal, typical type of setup here. He's got the initial Evo chamber coming up at the front, could turn that into a wall. He's got the third hatch. Scarlett, though, that's a Spire, Lester. Okay. Airborne type of Zerg, if I might add to that. Scarlett has gone for a quick lair to 2-base Spire, 2-base Muta type of play, I am going to assume, because making Corruptors at this point would be quite the surprise, quite the shock. So I'm going to say probably Muta. Reynor continuing the trend of the standard type of play, getting the Roach Warren up at the front. Zerglings just trying to be annoying, a little bit of a nuisance. Scarlett can't even spread creep with this setup right now. The Zerglings are right here. Now, Reynor, Reynor has not gotten into the base. Scarlett has this locked down tight, nicely. So Reynor's going to be possibly in for a little bit of a surprise. This Spire's going to complete. No OVs have made it in thanks to the Queens. No Zerglings have made it in thanks to the Queens. No drones. Reynor. Reynor's a little mad, I think. Reynor's slightly... Scarlett taking the risks. I'm not sure I would have the courage, I would have the ambition to move that queen, even just to inject. The first of the mutas does come out and will immediately reveal itself. Scarlett not wanting to keep those hidden for any reason. is going to start picking off the Ovies. Will be able to get the jump on both of the Overlords that were present on Scarlett's side of the map. Will it wind up supply blocking Reynor? It looks like for just a brief few seconds here. He's already got some Ovies on the way. Lair kicking into gear now. The Mutas should be enough of a trump card, so to speak, to allow for Scarlett to take map control. Zerglings, of course, they have not yet unlocked the ability to climb up on top of each other to be able to hit air units. Massive inferiority, if you ask me. Abathur really needs to get on the whole ladder evolution chain for Zerglings, I think. The Mutas were going to do their thing, just harry and harass. Reynor does already have another group out, though. Scarlett does see it. Might have to pull the Mutas away. Are the Queens still occupying? The Queens are still holding the wall, which is good. It's good news for Scarlett. At this point, like, you went for these Mutas. Like, but what are we really using them for? What kind of advantage are we hoping to go for? Scarlett's continuing the Muta production, so it's not even going to just be like, surprise, I have Mutas. No, Scarlett presumably wants to actually make something out of the Muta composition. Getting the +1 flyer attack, adding on the Bane nest behind this. Now this is a possible option here. Scarlett could be trying to do a little bit of mind game potential here. If Scarlett goes Mutas and thinks that Reynor's gonna go Hydras, then Scarlett follows up with the Bane nest. Banes deal with the Hydras. Win-win there, I would say. The issue, I think the wild card that might not be expected here, Reynor, I don't believe Reynor, no, Reynor has not gone for Hydras. Reynor has instead made an infestation pit and is going immediately to Hive. That's, yeah. So, I mean, so far Reynor's like, I don't really care about your Mutas. Infestor's not a bad option to deal with them, I guess. Fungal growth. If Reynor lands the fungal, I would say that's a pretty solid option. Of course, big if statement in there is actually landing the fungal and seeing what kind of damage you can get done in the meantime. Zerglings, the drones providing the buffer for the Queen, just barely will not make it out of there. Vastly delaying the Queen's demise, though. Long enough for the Mutas to get there. The Zerglings will all be cleaned up. The wall failing for a brief moment there. Reynor slips in another group, gets a few more drones, some links will pop out, add to the defense. Mutas show themselves. We'll absolutely be able to deal with them. The problem is, Reynor is starting to find little bits of opportunity, little cracks, chinks in the armor, if you will. Opportunities are growing and could... I'm sorry, what? That's an Ultralisk cavern. Well, you know, Ultras, while I will say Ultras don't particularly counter Mutas, they don't care about Mutas. It's the carrier debacle at the fungal attempted. Now, the Infestors and the Vipers, I think, are what Reynor's prepping to actually deal with the Mutas. The Ultras are going to be for everything else, I feel. So Reynor's just kind of gone against the grain, against the normal type of response, I would say. The Bane's connection, not too bad. Scarlett finds a little bit of damage there. And Scarlett's still holding a worker advantage, actually. I think the issue is going to now be this possible army tech. The Ultralisk Cavern just now starts for Scarlett, which means they're going to be a little bit behind as far as the Ultras actually coming online. Reynor's kicking the production on. Chitinous plating coming into play as well. Continuing to find the opportunities with the Zerglings. Now, Reynor has also lost some drones on the other side, though, so it's wound up being... Scarlett still has the worker advantage, just now everybody has less workers, which sounds about right for this economy. The Queens find a stray Ovi, we'll deal with that summarily. The Ultras now starting to pop out for Reynor, so what's Reynor going to want to do with these? The Queens stepping a little bit off of creep, actually. Now, they can't transfuse off of the creep here, so, like, what's our plan? What's our angle? Is it just anti-air? Go back to the creep. What'd I tell you? Queens, they don't go much of anywhere that quickly without some type of assistance. Chitinous plating about to finish up. Scarlett actually kicking in +3 attack. Gonna be online well before Reynor's, but I don't think Reynor is actually caring about that. He starts at +3 armor. The Vipers and Infestors and Queen. How many Ultras do we have? 4. It's only 4 Ultras. 5th's about to pop out, but so it's like the Ultras are like the main characters of the operation here, and then everything else is to just kind of support it. Zerglings find their way over to Reynor's drone line. The Ultras starting to have their way with the natural wall, and of course by that I mean it's gone, like erased from very existence. The Mutas will start to pick apart the hatchery. Are we really base racing suddenly? Scarlett's Ultras show up to start to connect and annoy the Queens. Reynor using Scarlett's creep to be able to transfuse here. Creep is neutral, of course. It doesn't matter. That's a clever play. Alright, so Reynor's Queens will actually be able to transfuse. Has split off a lot of the army units. The Mutas destroying hatcheries left and right. We have the Vipers. Parasitic Bomb. Oh, Reynor pre-splits. Not too bad, actually. Or Reynor with the Parasitic Bomb. Scarlett with the pre-split there will save, actually, a decent chunk of the Mutas, albeit losing a lot of the drones in the process. I don't quite see how Scarlett's going to be able to really clean this up. I mean, 10 Mutas, 5 Ultras. Oh, the Ultra battle here. The Queens to support those Scarlett's Ultras just don't have as much of an advantage. Reynor's going to hold the superior Ultra count, plus the Queens to support. The Infestors, decorative, it felt. Not even needed. They were the Mutalisk insurance, I say, but the Mutas never making it to this point. Reynor's going to go up map number 1. Map number 2 in the series shall be 10,000 feet here. They have switched colors, which I'll say is actually going to be better in the long run. We'll get there. The blue Zerg now occupying the upper left. It is Reynor, which means the appropriately colored here. Red Zerg, the bottom right, we have Scarlett. That somebody had one job to make sure the colors got put on the right hatcheries, and they finally did it. Only took map number 1 to really get things in order. But map number 1, I mean, while I'm on that subject, that was not at all what I was expecting for a ZVZ. Okay, like, when you think of ZVZ, all right, where's my Overlord? Give me some Overlord to watch here. When you think of ZVZ, I think people probably go maybe one of like 3 options here. Right? When I think of ZVZ, I'm like, all right, this is gonna go one of 3 ways. Either we've got Zergling Baneling, you die in like 3 minutes. Okay, that's a disaster. It's chaos. It's probably the reason people hate playing ZVZ. You have the Roach Wars, or the Battle of the Bugs, I might call it, where we get max supply of Roach Ravager and just lob bodily fluids onto each other for 10 to 15 minutes. Sounds like a real party. Or the late game, Hydra Lurker Viper, usually, is how that looks. Where then we have the stalemate. ZVZ gets the closest to TVT that it could possibly come. Holy chat. Somebody had a pause issue. Somebody left the match. Alright, we don't care. Moving on. So, the third one, the late game here, Hydra Lurker Viper, usually how that turns and looks. You have it more like TVT, because Lurkers they're acting a little bit like siege tanks, so just really anchoring a position, giving somebody a nice defensive setup. And then you have the Vipers to dislodge or blinding cloud the Lurkers, and then it becomes more of a chess battle type of thing. That, though, map number 1, was none of those. Absolutely nothing. Just out of left field, Scarlett's like, hey, what if I make mutas? I'm like, well, yeah, you can make mutas, that's fine. So then Reynor's gonna make hydras, right? No, Reynor's like, what about ultras? Infestors? And I'm like, sure, like, you know, fine. Like, okay, that is an option, I guess. Go for it. Reynor makes it work. Gets the ultras across. The real key ingredients, though, I will say, not just the 5 ultras. It was all the supporting forces, too. 2 Vipers to deal with the mutas, and the 8 to 10 queens that he had to help out and support the ultras. It really makes a difference. So Reynor pulling all of those pieces together in a rather unorthodox type of ZVZ play, I will say, making it work rather nicely. Let's see how map number 2 is looking now that everybody's had a few minutes to start threatening hatcheries, apparently. Oh, Scarlett's got some Banes when they're set up defensively. Wouldn't expect to lose everything then. Here we've got the Zerglings still wreaking havoc, it feels. Get in the main base and not much farther. Okay then. Well, so Scarlett here, getting the Roach Warren, getting the hatch up and running. Bane Nest, of course, we already know. Defensive Banes are set. We're right now in that early stage where I mentioned somebody might die. We have the Ling Bane back and forth. Reynor, though, opting to try to spice things up, has quite a handful of roaches on the way. And then they're going home. Okay. I spoke too soon. He's got quite a handful of roaches. Period. Just end. End sentence. Okay. More roaches, Reynor says, which I think is a fair response. Scarlett's Roach Warren is now done. Scarlett's Roach production now getting to kick in. Scarlett does have a very slight drone lead. I mean, the third hatch, I don't think it's enough to make a massive difference because Scarlett has more drones up front here in the third hatch, so that means as soon as Reynor attacks, well, they know we're coming now. The Baneling waddle, the slow run by here. A lot of Zerglings to support. Will be spotted by those Ovies. My eyes are on the Banes. I want to watch the Banelings here. The Zerglings are going to move in, start to go after some of the Roaches. A beautiful split here for the Roaches. The Banes are all dealt with for relatively low value, I would say. They never made it to the drone line, and the Roaches were spread out, split so well. The drone's now panicking. The hold position, denying that glory for just a brief few seconds there. The Banes will eventually find their targets, but Reynor, I feel, is in a solid position after that. The splitting of the Roach is really coming in handy, keeping a lot of them alive. Scarlett now panicking, I think, making a lot of extra Zerglings. Can't quite afford the Roach setup. God, the battle's just going all over the place. Ravager's trying to be morphed in to save the injured Roach, get some extra value out of them. Reynor having a bit of a tough time now with these Zerglings popping out. Reinforcements showing up for Scarlett. Uh-oh, more Roaches showing up too, though. Some supporting Zerglings for them both. Reynor morphing in another Ravager. I think the extra Queen and the Roaches here might be a bit too much. Reynor starting to move forward, gets a little bit of solid ground here. Scarlett gets some reinforcements together, though. Reynor trying to just stream everything he can across the map. We've reached the lobbing bodily fluid stage of ZVZ, as you can tell. Another Queen pops out of the hatchery. Ravager dealt with, though. Reynor starting to, looks like, be slightly deflected. The extra Zerglings might change the tide of this, though. The constant back and forth. They both are just producing their hearts out. Reynor actually starts to drone behind this, which indicates not wanting to press the attack anymore. He's going to give it. Okay, Scarlett will be fine. Will survive for now. They're both now starting to drone a bit more seriously. That was a scary couple of minutes there, though. Panic. I could feel it. Feel that tension there. Scarlett decides to go up to Lair. Reynor, not wanting to make that commitment just quite yet, might instead go for just more army supply. Adding on some more roaches, getting that extra gas. And are they both cutting drones? They're at about 48 drones. Oh no, Scarlett is not. Scarlett's adding on 8 more drones. Okay, this might backfire then. See, Scarlett saw Reynor back off and assumed, I would say, Reynor's gonna drone behind this. Reynor did drone, but then stopped. Reynor just went up to what we would call a just shy of 2 base type of saturation. He's got the 3rd hatch up and running, and then hit the gas pedal on army production. 24 more Zerglings, roaches, ravagers galore. The time has come. Scarlett sitting at 60 drones. This is gonna not go well, I feel. It's just too much army supply. We'll see about the micro, see about the control. The queens do offer a little bit of help, but they've been injecting this whole time. They don't have the energy for transfuses. Roaches and Ravagers for Reynor work on their way through the base, connecting with the drone line too. Ravagers focus down the spine crawler with the biles, still holding the line up against all of the roaches. The army supply, it's just too great. Zergling reinforcements coming in. The hatchery looks like is going to be destroyed. Drones trying to support the spine crawler as best they can. Will prove successful so far, but I don't think it's going to last much longer. The hatchery's destroyed. The army supply still over 2 to 1 in favor. 26 for Zergling. Reynor's trying to end it. Reynor's going for the throat with this play. Got back up to that 2 base drone level there, between 40 and 50, perfectly fine. And goes for the throat, will find it. Reynor. Uh-oh. Up match point already, 2 to 0 in favor of Reynor. The 3rd map in our series here shall be Old Republic. The red Zerg shall occupy the upper right, having a bit of a tough time. I will say, can they bring it back? It is Scarlett. And the blue Zerg, the bottom left, currently, I would say, has to be feeling confident, feeling quite comfy with this 2 to 0 lead. It is Reynor. If the trend continues, it could all end here. Dare I say, a quick, rather, 3 to 0, I guess. What I had expected, on paper, perhaps for ZVZ, would have been a quick series, but this series so far, at least in those 2 games, not quite what I was expecting to see for a ZVZ play. When I was looking at the list of replays, I seen the names involved. I saw these 2 pop up playing, and I'm like, I looked at them. I was like, it's been a while since I did a ZVZ, I feel. I don't remember the last time I casted a ZVZ, but I felt like fine. Yeah, okay, I can get behind this. I love watching Zerg, I'll say. All facets, I feel that TVZ, I think, is the best, of course. Perfectly fine. ZVP, not bad. It's got its problems. I have my feelings about it, but ZVZ has a special place, I feel like, just for the chaos, just for the madness that comes from it. As far as the mirror matchups, I'm trying to think, which of the mirror matchups is best? Like, TVT, I feel, mechanically is cool, but in execution, in practice, like watching it or playing it's different, though, I will say. Playing versus watching all of them is different. Watching TVT in particular, I don't feel it has that same level of pizzazz, that same level of excitement that you have from the others. PvP, I feel like, is actually the best to play. I feel like if I was to pick a mirror matchup that I had to play, if you told me, you're like, Indigos, you're playing 15 mirror matchups today and nothing else, like, okay, let's go PvP, because then at least they'll all be flipping different, and it's like poker, okay, wild cards, bingo cards, all of that good stuff there. ZVZ, though, I think might probably be my favorite to watch, just because of the high speed, the intensity of it, the chaos of it all. I like it. I enjoy it. That's how we got here, is what I'm trying to say. Very roundabout, tangential way for me to get to that conclusion, but we got there. Looking over the production tab, looking over the builds, I mean, neither one of them's doing anything I would describe as too absurd right now. The weirdest thing I think might be Scarlett cutting drones. What are you up to? Really? Cutting drones at 35, which screams to me the Lingbane type of ZVZ. Scarlett, I think, wants to try to get some damage done. Holding some of the Zerglings, is gonna make a few Banes out of it, and at this point, Reynor's gonna see all of these Zerglings, and is gonna go, okay, that's a fair amount of Zerglings, but it still could be defensive. I don't think Scarlett wants to be defensive, though. Looking at the production tab, Reynor's now cut drones as well, I think correctly. Uh-oh, going for the Roach Warren I think might be a bad move, though. Investing in tech at this point. Scarlett has gone full gas pedal on the army production. Banes being morphed in, Zerglings do their best to keep everything a bit safe. Well, find some of the connections. Reynor's doing a decent job at target firing down the Banes. Only losing a few Zerglings here and there, but Scarlett still has the army supply advantage. If the Roach Warren comes online, that's gonna be a bit of an unexpected card. Catching the Queens out here undefended, though. The Zerglings get a decent surround. The Banes now shoo the Zerglings away. All of the Queens are caught. They're dealt with. I think Reynor just dies. Oh, shoot. It's over. The drones now in peril, in danger. The Queens are gone in an instant. A bit of a misfire with the Queens is going to cost Reynor that map. Scarlett deciding to go just full-blown Zergling Baneling. I told you, the like 3-minute type of ZVZ. Scarlett says, let's do it. Gets a lucky pick at catching those Queens and will take it, will go up, which means we get a series. Heck yeah. Well, I was going to do an intro for map number 4 here, but then they both decided to 12 pool each other. Okay, great. Quick intro, speed run intro round for map number 4 here. We have the bottom right, the red 12 pooler. It is Scarlett. Which means the upper left can only be one option. We have the blue 12 pool. It is Reynor. Good, quick intros done. Out of the way. Slight deviation here, I will say. Scarlett's going for a gas. Like, is this for Ling speed then? Are you doing a quick Ling speed? Gets the gas on with relative haste. We're watching now to see what they decide to do. Reynor, no queen, I'll say. Oh, drones. Worker pull on the way, and Scarlett's going for a Bane nest. Okay, so we're going to have some slightly different versions of this. The Ovi is going to spot this. The Ovi sees the drones. Scarlett immediately reacts. Pulls back the Zerglings. Says, okay, I'm not going to win the battle out there because of the drones. Wait, Reynor, where are you going? Really? Reynor says, you know what? Nah, never mind. Okay. Well, that was anticlimactic. Here I was ready. Oh, God, I feel cheated. I feel denied now. Right on the cusp, right on the precipice of a beautiful, chaotic battle between these two. Okay. So, Reynor decides to not actually commit and go for the attack. The Bane nest is done. Banes are being morphed in. Scarlett might still want to try to get something done with this, just because of that tech advantage. The Banes are going to finish up. Reynor. Oh, a nasty hit there for Reynor to deal with. Scarlett gets a decent connection on that first Bane. Does not manually detonate. Oh, no manual. Okay. That's fine. Are we really just gonna drone out of this at this point? Like, we're just back to the gentleman's type of ZVZ, really? Not a bad trade there. 1 for 3. I would take that. That's pretty good, actually. Zerglings continue to just keep an eye on things, be slightly annoying. Reynor's hatch does complete, actually, pretty far ahead of Scarlett's here. So Reynor's going to have a slight advantage on that front. We'll be able to get a bit more larva, get the creep going out here. Could decide to actually start mining to set up the economy, but we'll see. We'll see how they actually decide to try to spin their ways out of this. They both decided to 12 pull. Slightly different versions, variations. Reynor was going to go for the drone rush, I will say. But then deciding, you know what? Nah, I'm good. Okay. Points for keeping your composure, right? How many of you can actually say that you would have pulled back? You've got it in your mind that this is what you're going for. You start the process. Would you actually have stopped? I'm not convinced. At this point, it's like, okay, no, this is what I wanted to do. Reynor is still technically up 1 point, I will say. Reynor can afford a bit of a more risky maneuver, a bit of a potential loss there. If Scarlett wins this, we go to a grand finale. If Reynor wins this, we say have a nice day. Peace be with you, kind of thing. So, you know, I feel like Reynor's a little more justified in taking that risky move, deciding to go for that kind of maneuver. Scarlett, I think, impressed me with the ambition on that front, going for the Bane variation of that. Reynor's, they're both saying, all right, we're just going to have a normal type of game now. The wall is on the way. Spine will help out and support where needed. Queen will occupy the space there. Roach Warren on the way. Scarlett? No Roach Warren for Scarlett. Scarlett actually has stopped drone production as well. Really? Are we gonna try this again? That's a lot of buildings to chew through, though. Evo chambers are highly cost effective for that. The Banes have a few strong words to say about that, though. The Queen will be dealt with. The initial 2 Evo chambers are gone. The Roach Warren's going to be destroyed, which isn't, I will say, massive for the wall, but certainly a bit less fun for the tech. Reynor canceled the in-progress Evo and remade it as a Roach Warren. That was very nice, actually, I will say. 3 Evos now at the front. The Queen still helping out, supporting. The Spine Crawler staring angrily at the Zerglings on the other side of the street. Scarlett droning their way out of this. Not going to decide to commit as heavily and as hard as the last one. So, we'll see. We're actually going to get a little bit of a mid-game out of this, which if you had told I found 2 12 pools Indigos there, that definitely would not have been on the bingo card. A bit of a shock, a bit of a surprise, perhaps. Scarlett's gonna, or I'm sorry, not Scarlett. Reynor is going for the Spire now. Reynor says it's my turn for mutas. Okay, well then. Also getting Glial Reconstitution, Roach Speed for the uninitiated there. Wants those roaches to be quick, lickety-split. Wants to have some mutas to support. Scarlett does that on the Roach Warren. Layer's about to finish up. Not going to be in time to start the Roach Speed right away, at the same time kind of thing. Upgrades, kicking it. They're both just taking macro turns at this point. I suppose we get a brief respite, a moment to ponder the philosophies and the intricacies of ZVZ. I hope you're having a good day. I don't believe I mentioned it at this point. How are you today, beautiful viewer? Are you having a good day? Is your day better? At least after getting to watch these bugs slobber and spit profusely towards each other. I feel like it's a pretty good ingredient for a decent day. The Spire completes. The mutas are on the way now. Scarlett opting for the melee attack. Reynor opting for the ranged, which tells me the composition is definitely going to be rather different. Scarlett wants to favor perhaps the Lingbane. Might even see Scarlett go into the quick ultras play that Reynor made in map number 1. That would not surprise me at this point. The mutas will make their way over here, show themselves. Only 3 mutas though, really? Yeah, only 3 mutas. So this is not quite the same that we saw from Scarlett in map number 1. Reynor has decided to make just enough mutas, I think, to make Scarlett think it's mutas. You want to get just enough. You can go hunt down overlords, of course. Be annoying. You test the waters, keep the queens at home on the defense kind of thing. But Reynor's actual plan is going to be these roaches. That's the actual tactic. Roach speed is done, +1 ranged attack is done. Queens here and ready for the defense. We'll see how much else is ready. Lings flanking around, getting a decent surround. We'll keep some of the roaches pinned. The 3 mutas here to help out, offer some strong, angry words towards the roaches. Scarlett with a wonderful arc, doing quite well so far at repelling most of the forces, has the armor advantage, but Reynor has that attack advantage on the roaches. Ravagers forcing out the biles, the little movements there. Queens running a bit low on energy now. More reinforcements for Reynor showing up. Likewise, though, more reinforcements. Defender's advantage does go to red. We will see. Well, Reynor says, I've had enough for this brief moment. Scarlett now has the army supply advantage. Roaches will pop out. Looking to drone behind this as well. Okay. They both have their 3rd bases up and running. Drone count's relatively even, so that's not going to be a major factor. At least not yet. Now, Scarlett is the one adding on a couple of infestors here. This could be something that changes the tide. It depends on how good the fungals are. Roach, Ravager, Infestor, welcome to the middle stage ZVZ I mentioned. The Roach Wars, where we get way too many roaches and lob the bodily fluids across the battlefield at each other. He will pay for that contaminate with his life, but will actually lock down the upgrade, which is it's just trying to buy little opportunities, little times here and there. Reynor doesn't know exactly how far into completion the upgrade is. He just knows the upgrade's on the way. So you throw a contaminate on it, it delays it for a little bit. Delaying the upgrades is a really choice actually, a terrible choice in words there, I suppose. It's an ideal candidate for the contaminate because it's not only delaying the +1 that you're getting here that's actually the contaminate, it also is delaying the future upgrades too. Now, technically, even if Scarlett were to start that +2 and +3 at exactly the second that the previous one completes, it's now going to be 20 seconds later. So that's a really ideal choice for the contaminate. If you're somebody that makes overseers, if you're somebody that likes to use overseers, go for it, because that can have that snowball type of advantage, type of effect there. Reynor hitting a slight supply block at 170 might decide to just play it off like we're attacking, we're going for it now. Oh, well. I think Scarlett caught an Ovi somewhere. A little bit of a supply block further there. The Infestors now might be the wild card here. Scarlett says it's go time. Well, the Bile, actually the Mutas coming in handy. This one single Mutalisk is getting so much work done. This one Muta is killing the 2 infestors. Transfuse goes out. Never mind, only gets 1. Terrible Muta. That was almost really good though. Nonetheless, I'll say killing 1 infestor with 1 Muta is fantastic. It's helpful. It also drained the energy. Multiple fungals went out and were attempted at this. Now, the turns have tabled slightly. Reynor says it is go time. Ooh, good luck getting up this ramp, though. Scarlett has the opportunity for a decent arc. Biles going out to galore. Acidic saliva from both sides coating the battlefield. Over on the left here, Reynor's roaches thus far denied. A decent little group. Oh god, if Scarlett could find this. Scarlett is gonna find it. Ravagers will be cancelled and a few of the roaches will even be picked off. Do we really just have Roach and Ravager at this point? Yeah, pretty much. There's still the 1 Muta somewhere. We'll catch up with him, I guess, in a minute. For now, we have the Roach Wars. The single infestor still here. Looks like has enough energy for maybe 1 fungal. I have to zoom out. The arc from Scarlett proving to be a bit strong. The fungal goes out. We'll pin a few of the Ravagers. Reynor does not seem phased, bothered at all, though. Burrow completes for them both. Tunneling Claws about to complete for them both. But Reynor's looking to be in a decent little advantage here. And will be able to pressure the 4th base. More roaches streaming in, showing up. Reynor has a serious advantage with the Ravagers, though. I don't see any Ravagers for Scarlett, which means the lack of corrosive biles means Reynor has a bit more freedom to not have to do the micro movements to keep things alive. Scarlett does have the upgrade advantage, though. +2 armor has kicked in. Reynor's is about to kick in now. The advantage actually swinging in favor of Scarlett for at least a brief second here. More reinforcements show up. Tense. The hatchery was lost, so I will say Scarlett through it all is right now facing a net loss. This isn't going well. Scarlett's alive, but we'll see if that continues. Reynor still has a bit of an army supply advantage. Some of those forces are streaming across. Still has the advantage with the Ravagers. Scarlett's just now coming out of the cocoon. Hydra's here to help out. A little bit of damage. A little bit of offensive capability, but not enough roaches, I think, to actually keep them alive. Reynor is closing the gap. The distance is getting smaller. Bile still continuing to go out. It is now really just the Hydras, which don't have the durability to take the fight. They will end up losing that engagement, and with it, Reynor goes up, will take the map, and with it, the series. Not the ZVZ I expected to have, actually, throughout really most of those games. We got to see a decent variety today. I'm pleased with that choice. I'm entertained. If you enjoyed, be sure to let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day.